Do we love celebrities, makeup brands? Do we not? Hi everybody and welcome to my channel. For today's video, I'm very excited because if you've been living under a rock, you might not know, but Selena Gomez has just come out with her very own beauty brand called Rare Beauty. Now in this brand, they release a bunch of products: primer, foundation, concealer, setting spray, blushes, lip products, brow products, eyeliner, as well as some tools, a beauty sponge, and 2 brushes. So in today's video, I'm gonna be showing you how I did this makeup using some of those products and whether or not they're worth the hype, but most importantly, if they're worth your money. Before we get started, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you're notified every time I upload. And now, without further ado, let's get started. So for primer, I'm going to be using my Milk Makeup Hydrogrip primer. I'm just going to grab a tiny bit. For foundation, we're going to be using the Rare Beauty Liquid Touch Weightless Foundation. As far as packaging goes, as you guys can see, it's very minimalistic. The little ball on the top makes it a little bit easier to open. And once you open it up, it has a doe foot applicator, very similar to Shape Tape. The first thing you do have to make sure is that you shake it very well. I don't know if you guys could hear it, but it sounds like there's a little ball in the inside, so you have to make sure that you shake it pretty good. The very first time I tried it, I didn't shake it and it did look kind of weird when I was applying it. For one side of my face, I'm gonna be using my Sigma Round Kabuki F80 brush, and for the other side I'm going to be using the Rare Beauty sponge. Now this sponge is actually quite different to many other sponges that I own. Now this foundation comes in 48 shades and it retails for $29. Now this foundation is cruelty free, vegan, paraben free, suitable for sensitive skin, dermatologist tested. It's weightless, smooth glide on formula that dries to a natural skin-like finish. The pure pigments are packed in a serum-like base, making it easier than ever to blend and to build your coverage. A little goes a long way, and evens out skin tone and hides the look of pores without clogging them or looking cakey. Lasts all day without drying you out or changing colors on you, which means that it doesn't oxidize. This is what one layer looks like. This is what it looks like with the brush, and this is what it looks like with the sponge. One of the things that I do want to mention is that this sponge soaked like most of the product up. I don't know if you guys could see it. Most of the foundation got stuck in this part right here. The brush gave me a little more coverage. And the side with the sponge, I feel like the foundation is just sitting on top of my skin. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna apply another layer, but this time I'm just gonna use it with the brush. I am not a fan of the way that this sponge applied the foundation. Let me tell behind the moon. Tell me you'll be on real soon. I don't wanna wait no more. Okay, so this is what 2 layers would look like, obviously with the brush. The foundation doesn't have as much coverage compared to many other foundations. As you guys could see, you could still see a little bit of my sunspots, a little bit of my freckles, obviously my beauty marks are right there. It does feel very lightweight. It does feel very skin-like, very breathable. I'm still able to see it sitting on top for whatever reason. For concealer, we're going to be using the Rare Beauty Liquid Touch Brightening Concealer. I have the shade 190W. So for one side of my face, I'm going to be applying it with the sponge. See if in fact works a little bit better with the sponge. And for the other side, I'm going to be using the brush just so that we can see the difference. Okay, for this one, you don't need to shake it. I mean, you can shake it if you want. I don't think it's necessary because it's not as liquidy as the foundation. This is what the applicator looks like. So as you can see, it's kind of like a doe foot, but it's more on a flat side. This concealer comes in 48 shades as well as with the foundation. So whatever shade you have on the foundation, you have the matching concealer. Retails for $19. This is a lightweight hydrating concealer that gives you buildable coverage where you need it while brightening skin with a radiant finish. This concealer, as well as all the items in the brand, are cruelty-free, vegan, paraben-free, suitable for sensitive skin, dermatologist tested. This concealer instantly hides what you want to hide: blemish, dark circles, redness, and fine lines, with a medium buildable coverage and a radiant skin-like finish. This is creamy, hydrating, yet super long-lasting, and is also sweat-resistant. This concealer blends like a dream to even out skin texture, and it won't cake or settle into fine lines. This is what it looks like with the brush, and this is what it looks like with the sponge. Same thing that happened at the beginning. As you guys could see, the sponge hardly gives me any coverage. For me, the brush is what looks a little bit better. I don't feel like it completely melts into the skin. I don't know if you guys could see it, but it is like up close, it is sitting on top. And obviously for the other side, it hardly covered anything, so I'm gonna apply just a little bit more just to kind of like even out the situation. This side looks brightened, this side looks like kind of wanted to get bright, but it didn't.
We could be dancing in the stars, we could be floating on away, as long as I'm safely in your arms, and it don't really matter where we stay, cause babe,
I don't know if you guys could see it, but it's definitely not blending. I'm having a hard time. For my bronzer, I used this Hollywood Contour one from Tilbury. So I just dot it and then just blended it in with this. What I did notice is, and one of the things that I do like about this foundation is that no matter what you put on top, you could blend it and it looks so beautiful. It doesn't lift, it doesn't leave any weird patches or anything like that. And for my brows, I use my Revolution Pro soap styler, and I use my Benefit Brow Contour Pro. I do have a full tutorial on how I do my brows, and I'll link it up here so that you guys could stop by and watch the video after this one if you like. So now we're gonna apply the blush. I'm gonna be using the Rare Beauty Soft Pinch Liquid Blush. In the collection, they released 4 matte shades and 4 dewy shades. They both look very beautiful on the skin, but for today's video, I'm gonna be using the shade Love, which is a matte finish. And this is what the applicator looks like. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna apply it in the back of my hand, and then I'm gonna be applying it with the sponge. This retails for $20. This is a weightless, long-lasting liquid blush that blends and builds beautiful for a soft, healthy flush, available in both matte and dewy finish, infused with long-lasting color pigments for all-day wear. It layers beautiful over liquid or powder formulas without disturbing your makeup. With this blush, you definitely need the slightest amount. I accidentally applied way too much. The sponge kept most of it, but definitely with these blushes, please use the tiniest amount, because a very, very little, and I mean very little, goes a very, very long way. It's okay, in this collection there's no eyeshadow palette or anything like that. There is for the eyes, there is an eyeliner and also a brow pencil, but those weren't things that I was very drawn, like, you know, when I saw them in store, it wasn't something that I was very interested in, so that's the reason why I didn't decide to pick it up. But for the eyes, I'm actually going to show you guys how I use the blush as an eyeshadow. I'm going to be applying a very, very tiny bit of this blush. I'm going to get rid of the excess, and this is so cool. There's a hard and the little doe foot applicator, and it's so cute. I actually had not noticed. First, I'm gonna just grab a brush and kind of like blend the concealer, and I'm gonna just grab the tiniest amount in the brush. This is the MAC 286S, so this is kind of like a stippling brush, but for the eyes, and this is perfect for this kind of products. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start in the center, and then I'm just gonna blend upward. Okay, and this is what the eyes look like. As you guys can see, it's very monochromatic, very matchy. I know some people like it, I know some people don't. For me, this looks amazing, especially if I'm running late or if I want to, you know, just something quick just to say that I did something to my eyes. Normally, I like to either apply my bronzer or my blush. This formula is actually really good in the eyes as well as in the cheeks. I noticed that it is a very long wearing formula, so it doesn't crease, it doesn't budge, it just looks pretty. I'm gonna do a quick eyeline and I'm gonna do my lashes and I'll be right back. And this is how the eyes turned out. My eyeliner, for whatever reason today, was not cooperating. Don't ask me why, I don't know. But anyway, let's move on. So for highlighter, we're going to be using the Rare Beauty Positive Light Liquid Luminizer. The applicator is very similar to the blush. As you guys can see, has a beautiful pearl finish. This one also has a little heart in the middle. So I'm going to be putting it in the back of my hand and then I'm going to be working from there. So I'm going to be grabbing a stippling brush. I'm going to be grabbing this and I'm going to be picking it up from there and then just blending it into the skin. I have mine in the shade Enlighten and this one retails for $22. This is a silky second skin liquid highlighter that creates instantly dewy buildable glow while also nourishing the skin. It lasts all day without fading, creasing, or setting into fine lines. Layers over makeup, liquid, powders, creams without disturbing what's already underneath. And this is what it looks like. As you guys could see, I obviously applied a little too much. I love the kind of wet look that it gives my skin. And for the lips, I have the Rare Beauty Lip Soufflé Matte Lip Cream. This one comes in 12 shades and I have mine in the shade Brave. And this is what it looks like. It has one of those applicators that the liquid lips normally have. This is an air whipped cream formula, glides on easy for a full color with a featherweight feel, velvety matte finish with a soft blurring effect. Lips look fuller, smoother, and more plump. Hydrates, softens, and stays put. Lips feel comfortable all day. Okay, and this is what the lips look like. As you guys can see, the color, it's beautiful. It screams fall to me. I really love it. I had to go to 3 different Sephora's to try to find that color because it was sold out everywhere. I look a little more dewy than I was anticipating. So now let's talk a little bit more about the products. The foundation has a beautiful finish. The color 230N is actually perfect for my skin tone. It has a little bit of that olive undertone, so it blends very nicely with my skin tone. It looks very pretty, very natural. As far as the coverage goes, if you are the type of person that don't like a lot of coverage, this foundation, it's very pretty for every day, or even if you want to amp it up a little bit. It's very lightweight and it looks really nice on the skin. Now, for the cons of this foundation, I, as per usual, like to try the products for multiple days with multiple things before I actually talk about them. And this was no exception. I actually bought this a week ago and I've been testing it out. I tried it with many different primers and setting powders, as I always do with all my foundations. And I realized that the best way to use this foundation is with no powder whatsoever. Every time I would apply powder, it would look very cakey. It would emphasize my texture like no other. It was crazy. I couldn't explain why, because when you are first blending it in, it looks fine, but as soon as you apply powder, it looks like a complete mess. It emphasizes texture, it clings to your dry patches. Especially for me is this area right here, a little bit in between my nose. It was a complete mess. The first time I tried it, I thought it was because I didn't shake it. But as I applied it in the other different days, I did notice that it would cling to certain areas and it just didn't look nice. There's a reason why they didn't release a powder. I think it has to do with the fact that this foundation applies and looks better if you just let it sit on its own. Once the foundation sets on the skin, it doesn't transfer, which is surprising. But if you have very oily skin, if you apply something very dewy underneath, it will come off. On the areas where I'm starting to get oily, there's transfer. My cheeks, there's not a lot of transfer because I tend to be very, very dry on those areas. But where I start to get oily, definitely comes off right away. So as far as wear time goes, I didn't notice I got more than a 4 hour. After the 4 hours, I would notice that it would start to break apart. Like I said, I do have combination skin, so I do get very oily in my T-zone, and also sometimes in my chin it tends to look a little bit more oily. So on those areas, the foundation completely wore off. It just didn't look pretty whatsoever. And you know, if you have more of an oily skin, I don't think this foundation would be for you, for the simple fact that if you apply powder on top, it looks very bad. And if you don't set it, well, obviously you will lose coverage and whatnot. The first hour or so, when the foundation is kind of like warming up with your skin, it looks very pretty. But as the time goes on, you know, you start losing coverage, and obviously that it's not a cute look. So for me personally, this is not something that I would recommend. This is a complete no. I like the packaging, I like the when I first apply it, but I don't like the way it wears. I don't like the way it looks on my skin after 3-4 hours. For me, I need something that is really gonna last the whole day, that is really gonna stay put. And unfortunately, this is not it. I wanted to love it. I really wanted to love it. But let's be honest, you know, it's not something that I will be reaching for. I think that if you don't have any texture and if you have more of a dry skin type, I think this foundation will look very nice on you. But for me, I have more combination. So unfortunately, this is not for me. And so that you guys could see, this is what the makeup looks like with the iPhone camera. Obviously with the lights and the regular camera, you don't get to see a lot of the stuff, but this is what it looks like. So that, because I'm looking at the footage and I'm looking at the footage as I'm editing, and I'm like, it looks very different. But you could definitely see my pores. You could definitely see how oily I look already, because like I said, if I apply powder, I'm very textured, very like it clings to certain areas. But if I don't, I look like a freaking grease ball. Now for the concealer, I feel so bad, but well, I feel so bad because I've seen so many reviews and so many people that love the foundation and the concealer. But unfortunately for me, this concealer, it's no. First, because of the coverage, it doesn't have as much coverage as I would like to. Two, because it does settle and emphasize my fine lines like crazy. And three, because it doesn't last whatsoever. Like, I apply the concealer, and after a few hours I notice that the concealer, like, I don't know if my skin, it's the concealer, or I don't know what it is, but it starts to disappear. The first days I tried it with my Jeffree Star powder, and I also used my Laura Mercier powder, and also I did my Boing under eye setting powder. That's my favorite. And even though I would set the under eye, for whatever reason the concealer would disappear. So this is not something that I look forward. I really like the applicator. The applicator is actually quite nice. I like the shape of it. I like the color. The color is very pretty. But unfortunately for me, this is also another product that it just doesn't stay on my skin. It is very nourishing. It does feel very hydrating on the skin. For me, these are the two products that I wanted to like and I wanted to love, but unfortunately these are not for me. Another thing that I do want to mention before I move on from those two is that you definitely want to use them with a brush. I try to use it with a sponge. I also use my Real Technique sponge, and I also use my EcoTool sponge to see if maybe that was the problem. But no, it's not the sponge. It's actually just, you need to use it with the brush, and you will get a little bit of a better finish. But still, it still clings into my dry patches. It still looks very cakey, very very bad overall. Like, I was very disappointed because like I said, I really wanted to like it. Moving on to the products that I actually do enjoy and actually do recommend. To start would be the blushes. I honestly love these blushes. First of all, the colors, like, just look at the colors. They have a lot of different colors. They have two different finishes, matte and shimmer. Well, not shimmer, but more of a dewy finish. And they last a very, very long time. So when I was doing the wear test with the foundation and the concealer, I would notice that the thing that would stay the longest was the blush. The blush would stay there. The blush would look so natural, so pretty. Obviously, you need to go with the very light hand. But overall, I think these blushes are amazing. As you guys saw, you could use it in your cheeks, you could use it in your lips, and you can also use them on your eyes like I'm doing it today. And also in the eyes, they last a very long time. And I was a little afraid that they were gonna stain my eyelids, but that was not the case. So I really, really enjoy this. These are 100% recommended. I love them. I want all the colors. As far as the highlighter goes, this highlighter is really pretty. I really enjoy it. I'm going to show you a swatch of what it looks like with the iPhone camera so you guys could see. It is very pearly, very sparkly. It looks very pretty on the skin. I think for me, I would need to get another color only because this is a little more icy type of color. It doesn't look bad, but I think that I would go more for one of those rosy shades, more of a coppery shade. I think that would look a little bit more flattering on my skin tone. I actually think the finish and the kind of color and the kind of highlight that it gives you is very similar to the Hourglass Ambient Light kind of highlighters. But yeah, this is very, very pretty. If you find a shade that you really like or that goes really nice with your skin, I would definitely recommend. They're just not as long wearing. I did notice that if you use it and then apply a regular highlighter on top, it could last a little bit longer, but on its own, I don't think it's as long wearing. And finally, for the lip Soufflé, I actually really enjoy this. They look so pretty on the lips. They're so comfortable. Just the texture of it, it's very unique. So I went through my lip products and I found a few of them. So I have here the Nude Sticks Magnetic Lip Plush paints. This is the closest thing that I found as far as texture and the way that it looks on the lips. This is the one that I found that it was the closest to the Rare Beauty. I have these other two from L'Oreal. These two are actually a little more wet. They kind of give you the same finish on the lips, but when you apply them, these are a little more wet-like, a little bit more, they dry more to a more matte finish, not necessarily a velvety finish. So, you know, they're kind of similar, but they're definitely not dupes. Like, just the Rare Beauty are very creamy, very velvety. It's very hard to explain. And I went through all my lip products to try to find one that was very similar, and these are the only ones that I found that were kind of similar, but nothing, it's not the same. These lip soufflés look very, very nice. I honestly am gonna go and pick up more colors because I really, really do enjoy them. I forgot to tell you guys, the sponge, no, no, I don't like it. It's too porous, it picks up a lot of the product, and I have other sponges that are way cheaper. I think this one was $14. I have my regular EcoTool sponge that it's one of my favorites, so don't waste your money. For me, those are the products that work and those are the products that didn't. This is my review. I hope it was helpful. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments if you guys are gonna pick up any of these products. If you already did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I have 2 other videos down here so that you guys check them out. Also, I have my Spanish channel. I do videos in English and Spanish, so if you want to follow me there, I'll leave it on this side. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye!